This is Dr. David Allen. I'm talking with Dr. DrMarieCarol3. We're talking about growing beyond our limitations. We're talking about breaking out of our pain. We're talking about going beyond our doubts or fears to become the person that we truly should be, leaving our limitations to live our potential, breaking our codependency cycle of pleasing people all the time. Because anybody who pleases everybody is a nobody. We're talking about growing to become who you really are. Marie, that's a tremendous challenge because that's what the family is all about. Mm-hmm. And we see it every day, every week, how people who felt their life was finished, was blasted. When they come to the family, they find a whole new perspective and they start to bloom like a flower. And it's just so beautiful to see.
It is. It's so, it never ceases to amaze me. It's incredible to see. And it's also beautiful to see someone that has started their journey and they've discovered themselves and their true self is coming out. But you've seen where they've come and they've made so much progress, and then a new member will come in and be in that situation that former member was in 6 months ago, and that now that member that's been working on themselves can look at this new member and say, look, I see you in me. I was there. You know, I can't do the process for you, but I can tell you, look at me. It is possible. Hope is possible. And I think that is one of the most touching things, is when you see someone that has been through hell and back, got into the other side, and now is choosing to instill hope in someone else.
And that's the value of the family groups. And please, we have a beautiful one at Kemp Road every Monday at 6 o'clock at Glad Tidings. We have a great one at East Street, Gospel Chapel on East Street at 4 o'clock. There's one in Carmichael at 6 o'clock on Mondays. There's one at NPCC on 6:30 on Wednesdays, and there's one on Thursday at 6 o'clock at NPPC on Blake Road. And there's one in the Evangelistic Temple. We have them all over. If you want to know more about them, call us, 698-0155 or 327-8718. But the family group has been a place which can be described as a place where people learn to grow and move out beyond of their limitations and face their potential.
Absolutely, absolutely. We're human beings. We are creatures of, creatures with the social self. We thrive in community. We thrive in connection. There's an excellent article that just came out, and it says one of the key principles breaking addiction is connection, because so much about addiction is isolation, and you've never learned how to self-soothe. So you turn to that whatever you're addicted to help you soothe. But if you become connected to others in a really authentic way, then that need for the addiction is taken away. So connection is imperative in this whole process.
Marie, what are some of the resistances that make people stay where they are and stay with their doubts, stay with their fears, stay with their codependency, and not become the person they really could be?
Well, there's several. Practically, sometimes you just don't know how financially you could do it. Some people are in a situation where they just don't feel they can risk a career change or leaving a relationship because they haven't had the resources to, whether it's education or what have you, to feel like they have a second chance. So finance is a very big one, unfortunately. Fear of the unknown, again, that feeling, that doubt that you're not going to be good enough, that you're going to get there and then you're going to fail, and so people are going to laugh at you, or people are going to say, see, that's what you're trying to do. In our society, we have this thing about sometimes you see family members trying to keep other family members in their place, because it almost shows if one starts to grow, then the others maybe feel like they should all be growing, but they're quite content in their mediocrity. So sometimes you have pressure where we've heard it several times where one of the people wanted to go get educated, and they're kind of like, what, do you think you're better than us? That's a real thing. So not only are you trying to do something for yourself, you're getting all this resistance from family members, which can be very difficult. And then just that old self-doubt we talked about before, those tapes, somewhere along the way, maybe a teacher or someone told you that you weren't good enough. You're never going to be good enough. You know, those become so loud, you start ignoring them. I mean, you start paying so much attention to them, you don't fulfill your potential. I think something else that's important to realize is we've talked a lot about how life can be shattering, right? The illusion of control. We know that control is just an illusion. So you get that illness diagnosis. You find out that you miscarried a baby. You find out that someone has stolen from you. Whatever it is, somehow life has become shattered. Not only has life become shattered and it's difficult, sometimes even when you start putting the pieces back together, whether it's in a family group, you do your detachment, you become awareness, you've confronted, you've been working on yourself. Sometimes that fear that it's all going to get blasted apart again can creep in. And I think that's a real thing. And I think that's something I've been working on, trying to help people in therapy, because I think that's a new realization for me as well. It's almost, you get through the pain, you think that's it. It's almost, now that you know that life is not always going to work out the way you expect it to, now you're a little bit more aware of it. In some ways, the innocence of thinking, if you work hard, you'll be kind, life is going to be great, gets taken away when you've been through a traumatic situation. And so it's like, okay, now I know there's no guarantee that life is going to be okay. How do I still give it my best shot? How do I still trust in a relationship even though I know my heart can be broken again? How do I try to try a new job even though I was fired from my last one? How do I go to a concert when crazy things are happening and people are shooting into concerts? How do I get on a plane? All these things that once you know there's not a guarantee, it can be very scary. So that can prevent growth as well. You know, now the awareness has hit us so hard, we can't be unaware, and so that's difficult. So one of the ways to deal with that is to start experiencing gratitude for what you do have. You know, start focusing on what you do have. That yes, those were painful experiences, but there are also lessons, and what have you learned from them? The other thing is just impossible without faith. I've found it's just impossible without faith because there is no guarantee for tomorrow. The hurricanes, we've seen that havoc. I mean, just looking at the pictures, even now, those people 4 months ago their lives were totally normal. Now they don't even know if they have food or water. It's such a reality. The little boy that got shot. I mean, just, you know, every day there's something. And so if we don't have faith that life will be essentially good and okay and that there are some beautiful things left, then none of us are going to continue to grow because it just doesn't feel like there's any point. So it's balancing all the negative, like you opened up the show with dualistic. I think that's really important. Yin and yang, there is good and bad. You know, nature is good and bad. Nature can be incredibly beautiful. The sea is beautiful, but it's the same sea that can turn into a hurricane.
And we have to accept that.
Yeah, yeah. And accept the risk of trusting again and trying something new and realizing you might fail. I hate to say it. You might fail. I could easily fail. We might get hurt. But the downside is never trying and then just living in a life of isolation and you know, like I always ask clients, are you a merry-go person or a roller coaster? Merry-go-rounds, yes, they're safe, they're comfortable, you're just going to keep going around and around, but they're so boring. Whereas a roller coaster, yeah, you might have some horrible lows, but you also have some beautiful highs, some love, some incredible relationships, some incredible experiences. So you have to choose, and yeah, we can't guarantee the safety of it all, but we can guarantee that it's going to make your life full of way more potential and purpose and experiences and discovering yourself, which I think in the long run, no matter what happens, that's going to produce the most meaning.
And Marie, it's so true that many people try and they fail and they really want to give up. How do you handle that?
There's something that it's called the growth mindset versus the fixed mindset.
What's that?
The growth mindset versus fixed mindset. Growth mindset is, well, let me start with, the fixed mindset is, it's what we used to think. You're born with what you got is what you got. You're born with this kind of IQ. I don't know, you can't measure, I don't believe you can measure intelligence with IQ anyway, but anyway. So you're born with this IQ, you're born with this DNA, you're born with these traits, these talents, and that's it. This is what you've got. This is what your deck of cards given to you. So you can only succeed as far as you can with that deck of cards, right? You can't get smarter. You can't develop that part of your brain. So people go as far as they can, and then they feel like it's fixed. They've got a level, right? And they're scared of failure because they just don't feel like they have anything left to give. Growth mindset is saying, I can continue growing. Failure is just another way of making me see things even differently. We know that you can continue growing your brain. You can create, there's so many incredible things that you can do with your brain. You know, grow neurons and brain plasticity and all sorts of stuff that before we didn't realize were possible. So fixed mindset versus growth mindset is so huge. Growth mindset is, yes, I might fail, but I will still continue. It's like there's still another rung in the ladder to continue. It's like, it's realizing you're a lifelong learner. Life is about learning. It's not, again, not to be a cliche, but it's not the destination, it's the journey. Whereas a fixed mindset is, this is what I got, no point in trying anymore. And that's why failure for someone with a fixed mindset can be so scary, because they feel if they fail, they have no other options. Whereas when you have growth mindset, and you look at all the really successful people, all have that growth mindset. They fail and they just use it as, you know, instead of no, thinking no, it's next one. It's, okay, that one didn't work out, so what's the next one? And they keep pushing, whether it's Abraham Lincoln or Colonel Sanders, who couldn't sell his chicken anywhere. Now, you know, there's so many stories of these Steve Jobs, so many people that have this growth mindset where failure was just a stepping stone. Whereas unfortunately, a lot of times we teach our kids that failure is the end. Failure can sometimes be a big place to change. Sometimes we need to fail in order to realize, oh, there's another direction. Sometimes things getting broken in your life can be your biggest gift. So if you can, and maybe when it's happening you don't feel that way, but if you can realize that, and realize it can be a gift and a chance to discover yourself and discover who you're really supposed to be, what your life is really supposed to be about, then it's not nearly as daunting.
Wow. Very important. There are many resistances, and the biggest one, of course, is failing before. And someone would say, well, I tried that, it didn't work. But this does require patience, and it does require determination. Because the mere fact you're thinking about growing, you grow. Can I say it again? The mere fact that you think about growing, you grow. The mere fact you think about leaving this destructive situation, you're leaving it. But as you think in that growth mindset, we believe even failure contributes to the growth. We're going to take a break and be right back.